I have opened Project 4-6 on page 103 of your book, Identifying Over Allocated Resources, and I went ahead and saved it and named it. What we're doing in this assignment is we are reviewing over allocations. And when we did the last lesson, you can see these little red men. Those are indicating of some over allocations. As you can see, the last one there's some notes and other things here, but this task has over allocated resources, and you can right click on it for the options. But what we're doing in this assignment is we're going to locate Brad Sutton and review his assignments for the weeks of January 7th and January 14th, because we want to find out why and where he has been over allocated. And then in a separate Word document, we're going to go ahead and just type up a little note indicating why he has some allocations, and we're going to send a little note to maybe the supervisors or the project manager as to why he has some over allocation, and explain it and decide whether the over allocation is acceptable and it can be left, or do we need to maybe reassign him to something different, or have somebody else take over a task that maybe he was assigned to. So how we're going to do this is we're going to go ahead and locate Brad. So what we need to do first of all is we need to change this view. We want to change this view, and we can click here on the little down arrow under Gantt chart there, and let's click on resource sheet and take a look at our resources. Of course, you can click here on the resource tab and locate that also underneath the first tab here, the view area. Okay, so I want to take a look at Brad Sutton and find out what's going on with him, and find out, we can see he's in red, so we know he has some allocations somewhere. So we want to try to find out where he is over allocated, and basically what that means is they've overbooked him working on a task somewhere. So we got to figure out what's going on there. Okay, so what we can do is we can go ahead and turn on the resource graph. Is one way of taking a look at the allocations. You have to make sure though, when you turn the resource graph on, that you use the scroll bar here down at the bottom to scroll to the appropriate date. And for some reason this project is going into 2019, and it's because of the setup of the form here, so that it can be used in class for a couple of years. They kind of push the date out. So you can see that he's over allocated here on Monday on January 13th. And let's see, if I go back a little bit, I see he's over allocated also on Monday, January the 6th. Okay, so I'm going to look at a different view here and see if I can find out. Okay, so what I did is I turned on the resource form, okay, which is in little down arrow resource form, which has given me a little bit of a different view. This kind of goes into a lot more detail, telling me some of the tasks and stuff that he's working on. And you can see here that we can see January 7th and January 14th, he's been assigned to the status meetings here of 1 hour. So if I look up here, January 7th through Tuesday, January 8th, he's already working almost 15 hours here on developing the survey questions. So we know we have a little bit of an allocation, over allocation there. Also, if you take a look down here, you'll see, here we go, we have some of those status meetings again that are 1 hour, May 13th and May 20th. And if you come up here, you're going to see that he has like 120 hours involved here from May 8th through May 29th. So you see where some of these over allocations are. But in this case, they're only 1 hour status meetings, so it's not really a critical over allocation. So this is where you can go ahead and just type up your little Word document. And by the way, in the book, step number 3 says to detail Yang Ling's assignments, but it's supposed to be Brad Sutton. So that was a typo in there because we are looking at Brad. And the Word document, all you have to do is make a little memo up, and it says that he's over allocated 1 hour on the 7th and the 14th. And since the meetings are only slated to go an hour, the allocation is not something that we should worry about. So this would be something to go to the project sponsor or the PM to let them know that it's not a critical allocation, that he can probably go ahead and still attend the meeting and get his work done. And another thing that you can do, and you're going to be learning this later on, is, and don't be afraid to play around with this, because once the schedule is in here and you have it built in here, a lot of what Microsoft Project is just views of your resources and your tasks and different things that are going on in your project. And you could go ahead and go click on the Reports tab, and you can look at your resources. Of course, always know your resources are your people that are working, or if you're using machines that cost a weekly fee or whatever, those are considered the resources. And take a look here, over allocated resources, and you can just, and this is just a view, it's a report, and now you can see here all your resources, and you can see they've changed this. These are little different colors, and you can see where Brad is over allocated. So if you look here for the dark blue, there's the January 7th and also the January 13th. There he is, where he has a couple over allocations there. And then also if you look down here, here's the May 13th and the May 19th, which was not actually put into the memo, and it should actually be put into the memo, because he does have 4 days there where he is over allocated. So that's just another way of taking a look at your over allocations and just trying to determine if they are critical or if they're like minor. And I'm going to go ahead and save and then just close out of this.